The very first State of Shelby Township address. We've got details on this inaugural event for the township, courthouse decision, and Charlie?
A new proposal by a local state representative will give emergency first responders easier access to your emergency contact information. Coming up, I'll tell you how.
All this plus much more, but first back to that top news story. Shelby shined in the spotlight at the first State of Shelby address at Palazzo Grande. Sponsors, along with the Macomb County Chamber of Commerce, hosted this new event. Community leaders get a chance to feature their victories and goals. Supervisor Rick Stathakis spoke to the crowd about the state of Shelby, public safety, quality of life, and its finances. Supervisor Stathakis explains.
So we've actually increased the increase at, I think, an increasing rate every year of our net deficit, which is important. And the reason it's been at an increasing rate is because we keep this slide in front of us. In fact, I have a couple slides under my desktop, and this is one of them right here, something I do not lose track of. Every day I come into the office, I always try to think of how are we going to get this down. And you can see through all the hard work that these people have put into this, I'm talking about the Board of Trustees and all the employees, we still have a long way to go. But our forecast has all the significant activities that we actually do in Shelby Township. So for the fire station, for example, if you look at it, we can put one up tomorrow. We can staff it with our 6 firemen, we can build it, we have the money, no question about it. But the question is, over a long length of time, 5 years, how will that drain our budget? That's the question. And because of our 5-year forecast, we're able to plug numbers in. And we knew, for example, last year that we weren't ready for this. So we didn't do it last year, and we might be doing it sometime soon. But that 5-year budget is so critical for every decision that our Board of Trustees make. And again, it's the will, the commitment of the Board of Trustees that made this happen, and we were able to move forward on that. And you know, it's like the old saying, if you don't know where you're going to go, you may miss it when you get there. We're not going to miss anything because I have a really good, confident feeling we know exactly where we're going. Okay, so, and then the last thing I want to mention is a capital improvement fund. This is really the 4th tool that we put in place 2 years ago. And I know a lot of you are sitting back saying, like, no kidding, you know, that everybody's got a capital improvement fund. No, not so fast. I think when you look at municipalities, that's not true at all. And I was quite surprised when I took office that we did not have one. And I wasn't the only one. We had board members, sitting board members who wanted to do this long before I got there, but they just didn't have the votes and they didn't have the commitment from the whole board. So I'm very, very happy to say that, you know, this board, we think alike in a lot of ways. We're very conservative. We don't go in a rainy day fund unless there's a tornado or a thunderstorm, but you know, it's a way of getting things done. So the capital improvement program was so important because what it did is it kept us from actually saying, let's buy that $1 million whatever, let's do this $500,000 initiative. We can still do that, but you know what we have to do now? We now have to say, okay, if we're going to spend $1 million, which of these 35 projects that we have down on this piece of paper, this capital improvement program, which are we going to take away? Because if we don't take $1 million out of the budget, out of the capital improvement fund, then we can't spend $1 million that we want to spend.
Supervisor's motto of the township, Shelby is a community with people making it a better place to live, learn, play, and do business. Along with business, Shelby has an A++ bond rating, a better place to live. A comparison in crimes shows Shelby's slightly under average. Quality of life. There's 1,200 acres of parkland in Shelby. The township leads in parks in the county, along with Chief Gene Shepherd Park that was recently constructed. Then, 4 honorees were recognized from Shelby, one from each of the following categories. Making Shelby a better place to do business. Planning Director Glenn Wynn presented Gene DiAgostini with this award for bringing in 3 businesses which brought in turn jobs to Shelby Township. Library Director Katie Esther gave out the Better Place to Learn award to resident Diane Bergeson for her 14 years of service at the library. Next, Parks and Rec Director Joe Youngblood presented Michael Ward for a Better Place to Play award. And finally, firefighter Steve Henyon presented Ed Young with a Better Place to Live award.
Various fire marshals have told me that he's done a great job with setting up a program in case of an emergency, shortwave radio, ham radio operators. Cell phones go out. We need to be able to communicate with other communities. Ham radio operators are still somebody that we turn to.
The Board of Trustees, along with the supervisor, promote growth and development in Shelby and highlighting Shelby's own path of government. The address is a first of its kind. Keep ideas coming in to help our community grow. A big priority for Shelby leaders, the 41A District Court Agreement. Here's what's going on. Revenue from the court will remain fixed for the next 20 years. Board of Trustees approved this agenda item. The township came to an agreement with the judges, stating they'll begin renovations within the next year on this building. There's a plan to meet the court's needs, invest money, and no revenue lost. Township Attorney Rob Huth says the court, judges, and revenue won't leave for 20 years. This agreement is a long time coming. The courts come full circle, searching for a home in Macomb Township, Utica, and Sterling. While they're renovating the courthouse section of the building, much needed renovations to the library, senior center, and cable television will begin as well. There will be a groundbreaking of construction within the first year. What if you could have more emergency contact information on something you keep with you at all times? Charlie Cadotto reports about the innovative idea.
New legislation will give first responders more emergency contact information, and it'll all be stored in your driver's license.
Makes sense to me.
It's a plan proposed by State Representative Pete Lucido.
There's a lot of things that are common sense to me, and that's the approach I want to bring to Lansing.
Michigan residents will soon be able to add emergency contact info onto their driver's license or state-issued ID. It works through the encrypted part of your card. Emergency personnel already swipe or scan your card to gain access to your driving record and other information. So, starting in 2016, you'll have a choice to add emergency information in the scene of an accident.
They just slide it through. It'll be able to tell them who you have decided to be your emergency contact person, and it'll give their name, it'll give their address, it'll give their phone number, and because it's encrypted, it'll be private.
So how much does all this cost?
Zero, not a penny, which is the most beautiful thing, not increasing anybody any money for any reason.
Zero doesn't happen too often in Lansing, so Lucido says his colleagues had no problem passing this legislation.
There was no no's on it. It was 100%, so it was bipartisan. Both Democrat and Republican thought we have a need for this.
For Shelby This Week, I'm Charlie Cadotto.
All right, Charlie, good information on that legislation. Shelby is home to a new facility that's bringing more than just jobs to the township. Andrew Shelsky reports.
Sienna Healthcare Center, located just off of Van Dyke on 22 Mile, just opened their doors. And they're trying to be the bridge between the hospital and the home.
Well, this is a skilled nursing facility with a particular emphasis on rehab, short-term rehab. So it's really taking care of the senior citizens who are in need of either short-term rehab or they need long-term care. So this facility is really all about that.
Regency at Shelby Township will have 116 beds with licensed professionals and a person-centric way of treatment.
Typically, traditionally, what you see in nursing homes, you see a lot of, they're very institutional in look and feel. There may be 2 or 3 or even 4 people in one room. And here what we have is most of our rooms are private rooms. So that makes it very unique. Typically, that's not available in most nursing facilities. And then beyond that, even the semi-privates are very spacious. And then we have plenty of amenities and a huge emphasis on rehab. We have a very large rehab gym, and beyond that, there's a big emphasis on food. We have a chef on staff. So other than that, there's a library, so there are plenty of amenities. It mostly feels like you're in like a high-end assisted living, but in reality, it's a skilled nursing facility.
Regency Shelby Township is dedicated to reducing hospital stays and getting people back home.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. And by the way, first of all, I want to say congratulations and thank you for being a very important part of Shelby Township, and welcome to our community. We appreciate it very much.
It's going to create about 140 full-time jobs. because it is a labor-intensive business. So, so that's pretty exciting. So a lot of new jobs, and they're good-paying jobs, because it's a 24/7 business. So it's not like we can lock the door, and 365 days. So there's a significant economic impact, and of course, the property taxes and what have you. And then these employees obviously, they add more to the local economy and so forth. So there's a very significant economic impact because of this facility.
For Shelby This Week, I'm Andrew Shelsky.
Looks like another beautiful facility in Shelby. Coming up, a military service for free and 4 candidates announced. We'll tell you what for after the break. A shooting range in Shelby opened their doors for the military. News reporter Lindsay Meyer explains.
Due to the ongoing threats against the nation's military and law enforcement, Sheriff Michael Bouchard is taking additional steps to protect our men and women in uniform. And we spoke to Sheriff Bouchard about the program.
We've seen, so many attacks on military facilities and military members, and we know for a fact that ISIS and other terrorist groups and different extremist groups have specifically said target police, target military. And so for me that means be prepared, be situationally aware, but you can't defend yourself if by policy the Department of Defense won't let these folks carry a weapon when they're qualified to do so, and certainly their Second Amendment rights to protect themselves and their family. So after this last shooting, it made sense to me to say, hey, if you're in the military and you live in Oakland County, we're going to figure out a way to get you a free CPL class so you can defend yourself and your family while you're at home. You defend us when you're abroad. It's not rocket science to me. So thankfully to the Sportsman Congress for stepping up to be the host location, and our Deputies Association and a couple of restaurants kicked in money and food. We're able to put this on at no cost to the folks that are here from the military, and I think it's the right thing to do. And I think the response has been pretty overwhelming. We thought we'd try and see if we got interest in one class, and now we filled 4. And that's just active duty. We also have a lot of veterans that are saying, what about the possibility of veterans? So, we said active duty first because they're wearing a uniform and they're a visible target, but, certainly anything we can do for active duty or veterans, we're going to try to do. When you've got lives on the line, when you've had, Fort Hood and you've had Tennessee and you had the Navy shipyard shooting, all of those resulted in loss of military lives, and all of those required a civilian police agency to respond to engage the shooter in a shootout and shoot the person that attacked the military facility. That tells me that there's a disconnect from the ability to defend themselves, and I think it ought to be rectified, but that's not in my policy world. That's in Washington's, and I get that. And so we focus on what can we do, and this is one of the things we can do. This is basically the civilian CPL course, which is a concealed pistol license. So it's what you have to do under Michigan state law to get licensed and certified to carry a concealed pistol, which I certainly would encourage a member of the military to do. Again, because very specifically, police and military have been articulated as go find one and kill one by terrorists. That's a simple solution, is to be better prepared and allow them to be better prepared. We know for a fact ISIS actually listed home addresses of members in the uniform in Oakland County, specifically on some of their chatter, encouraging folks, again, as a way to go attack those people. So that's very real, when you've got addresses in Oakland County that have been published by ISIS. Hopefully, this doesn't die off and go on to the next issue before they resolve the underlying issue that, they ought to be better protected.
We also got a chance to speak with the chief instructor of the program, Bob Sava.
We conduct CPL classes. I have been conducting them here at the Detroit Sportsmen's Congress for like 25 years. And we were really excited to get a phone call from Mike Bouchard's office where he was concerned that some of our military, because some of the laws and whatnot around, were not able to defend themselves in public. And he wanted to make sure that they had the same ability when they're in civilian time that we do, and sponsored them getting CPL, Michigan CPLs. Of course, they have to go through the class and their range exercises and everything like anyone else, but he provided the means before they could do that. When they're out off duty with their family or at home, they can carry concealed weapons like any of the other civilians can and have the ability to protect themselves or another citizen of the state. Per laws of Michigan, they could protect somebody else that's in danger. The classroom portion, of course, is first off learning Michigan law, what you can and can't do, all the various consequences, and when the situations are under the law gives them the right to use lethal force and what they need to be aware of in those respects. And we also went through, and are going through right now, a range exercise to make sure they're competent on the range to use that lethal force if it becomes necessary. We have one-on-one instruction because we recognize no two people really come in with the same skill sets. And even though they've been trained in military, it just means they've qualified with a firearm. Doesn't necessarily mean they have good marksmanship skills or they can't learn something. So our instructors really excel and are very excited to work one-on-one with students on the line. And we do that in all our classes. Oakland County has basically every weekend booked. You have to book through the Oakland County Sheriff's Department if you're an Oakland resident to get into one of these classes. This one was full, and I guess the next two are full already. So there will be plenty of opportunity for active military to participate in the Oakland program. And even if you're not active military, you can check our website and just jump in on one of our regular classes. We'll give you the same quality instruction.
From the Detroit Sportsmen's Congress in Shelby Township, for Shelby This Week, I'm Lindsay Meyer.
The body of Southfield Fire Chief Keith Rowley, who went missing after he dove into Lake St. Clair, has been found by the Macomb County Sheriff's Aviation Division. This tragic event started Friday, July 31st. 58-year-old Chief Keith Rowley was boating with friends when he jumped into Lake St. Clair. A hat had blown off the boat. He jumped in to retrieve it. Rowley was with a 55-year-old male from Troy that was driving the boat and two females. He wasn't wearing a life jacket, and with rough waters, it made it difficult for the 40-foot boat to circle around him 4 times, attempting to give him a lifesaver. The search began immediately for the chief. He had served the Southfield community for more than 30 years, the same town where our Shelby Police Commanding Officer, Robert Shelby, worked before taking on the role as Shelby Chief.
He constantly working with the youth in the community. Every time I turn around, he'd be bringing a tour group of kids through the police station or through the complex, and he was definitely a public servant if there ever was one.
Dive teams searched for 2 days with no exact location of where he dove in. Almost 72 hours after Rowley went missing, the Aviation Division scoured the lake by air for any signs of his body. Lieutenant Walter Zimney was in a helicopter when he spotted Rowley's body from above.
Yes, we had a coordinated effort with the Marine Division, the Aviation Unit, and to assist in the location of the missing boater that was missing on Friday. It was a joint effort between different members of the aviation unit, and we had a fixed-wing plane as well as another helicopter. So there were 3 aircraft involved in the location of this victim, this unfortunate accident. We just returned onto the ground, and we're glad to assist the Marine Division and be an asset to the Sheriff's Office.
Rowley's body was recovered at 7:10 p.m. on August 3rd. Dave Lawler is pilot of the helicopter that found Rowley's body.
Well, what we like to do is we kind of come in and do a perimeter search first. We try and find the outside perimeter and just kind of move in from there. In other words, take the extreme areas and move towards the center. And we generally set up kind of a grid pattern. And we also have a unit airplane, and the airplane typically flies high, and then we fly down lower, and they get 2 different perspectives that way. and we'll set up grids in opposite directions and just kind of take it from there. And it's laborious searching and keeping a sharp eye out.
The driver of the boat was arrested for operating while intoxicated, but that issue is not the reason for Rowley's death. Volunteers and a variety of different departments all came out to help find Rowley.
It's closure for the family. That's why the divers were working so hard to find the body, so the family understands completely. There was no doubt about the facts of the investigation. We knew it was a search for the body and not really a rescue operation. And so this will be good. Family could lay him to rest properly.
That's a very sad story. Hopefully his family finds closure. And speaking of helicopters and flying, this very department that helped find Chief Rowley's body, the Macomb County Sheriff's Aviation Department, is all volunteer. They're holding a fundraiser, and you're invited. It's called Keep 'em Flying on October 8th at Villa Penna on Hayes Road. $150 a ticket, and it's tax deductible. Google Macomb County Aviation for more information. A tragic story happened back on July 8th. A dog mauled a young boy in Shelby. Nick Buckler tells us about this story.
They are here to protect the community. And in this case, the Shelby Township Police Department are fighting for the justice they believe is due to an 8-year-old Shelby Township boy who was mauled by a pit bull and his family.
It's just a horrific set of events. You have a young boy who's just enjoying his summer and unfortunately gets attacked by this dog. I feel strongly about this, and the department feels strongly about this, is really making sure that young boy can return to his home and feel safe and feel that, that this matter isn't going to happen again. But at the same time, I understand by taking a stance that says that we will do whatever we need to do to ensure public safety, the other side of the equation is alarmed or even at times offended by the fact that it may be in the best interest to have this dog put down, and that's a difficult decision.
Home Forever, the rescue the pit bull was purchased from, is fighting for the life of Dexter the dog. Shelby Township PD wants this dog to be euthanized, however the rescue does not. Their lawyer Robert Erie released a statement last week. Our hope and desire is that the court will follow the law, and this particular dog, Dexter, will be allowed to live.
The safety of this child is my concern, is anyone, where this occurred and how this occurred. This was an unprovoked attack on an 8-year-old boy. That's pretty clear cut to me. So yeah, this animal's behavior is really what's at the crux or the point of the matter. This animal attacked a boy. Simple as that.
Now, we won't know the verdict in this case just yet, as the case has been adjourned until September 11th. For Shelby This Week, I'm Nick Buckler.
Joe Wallace Jr. was charged with 5 felony counts of embezzling $20,000 recently. Here's what happened. 51-year-old Wolf took from a nonprofit Shelby-based youth baseball fund between 2012 and 2014. Instead of using money that was raised at the River Gaming Bar in Shelby, he was misusing it for personal travel and bills. Wolf was arrested and in court recently. He was released from jail on a $50,000 bond. If convicted, he'll face jail time and major fines. Local seniors are loving Shelby's Bocce Ball courts. The weather's finally nice enough. Friends can gather at the courts just behind our library and try out a game of Bocce Ball. Anyone can play this game that combines skee ball, bowling, and shuffleboard.
We're playing bocce. The wonderful game of bocce. We grew up playing bocce in Italy, and it's just in our hearts. We get together and wonderful friends, and we just have some good times. The game of bocce is pretty easy. You're trying to get close to the white ball. You got green and red balls, and whoever's closest to the white ball is usually the points. And sometimes the game is it's fun because if you knock the other guy out, and then there's a lot of grinding going on. And
It's a strategic game, but it's enjoyed by all. The relaxed game is popular for our senior community. Come out to the courts and enjoy it. Grab your fishing lures, hook your worms. It's time for the 29th annual Fishing Derby on Saturday, August 29th from 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. at Heritage Garden Lake. This event is for Shelby and Utica kids ages 15 and under. Prizes for largest fish, door prizes, and more will be offered. Stop by this fishing event. Call 586-731-0300 for more information. We have a road construction update for you in Shelby. 24-mile road between Mound and Van Dyke is open to local traffic, eastbound only. Westbound lane will be closed to through traffic. And westbound 24-mile between Hayes and Romeo Plank will be closed. Only eastbound is open. And Hayes Road from 21 to 23 mile will be open, but outside lane closures will be going on to complete restoration and cleanup. We have this week's job hunt. La Vida Massage is hiring a front desk sales associate to join their team on Hall Road and Shaner. Responsibilities include answering phone calls, setting up appointments, and greeting guests. Next, McLaren Healthcare is searching for a secretary to perform general office work at their Shelby location. Applications should have at least 2 years of clerical experience. The Shelby office is located at 26 and Van Dyke. Next, Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union needs a part-time teller. You should have at least 6 months of cash handling experience. The Shelby location is on 23 and Van Dyke. And finally, St. John Providence Health Systems is hiring a medical assistant at their Shelby family practice. There are necessary licenses and preferred certifications. For all these jobs and more, go to shelbytv.org. Up next, did you know facts for your brain? We'll explain after the break.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Now we have our Did You Know segment of the news. We give you interesting Did You Know facts. This week's Did You Know is about the month of August. Did you know the month of August is named after Augustus Caesar in 8 BC? And did you know that Lemon Meringue Pie Day is on August 15th? Did you know on August 16th, 1977, Elvis Presley, the King, died? Did you know that August 30th is National Toasted Marshmallow Day? And did you know there will be a full moon on August 28th? Those are your Did You Know facts for this week. And that's Shelby This Week. You can watch us online all the time at shelbytv.org. And don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/ShelbyTWPTV. Thanks for watching.